The Shoot It Straight podcast has begun. We're here going to talk about your programs today. Mm-hmm. Your one specific program today.
Right.
Lift heavy, swing fast.
Yes, that's like the brand. That's like the brand we've created. Our tagline, right? And yeah, we're kind of transitioning over from individual programs to just a continuous training module, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, I think, maybe we should work on how we're...
Yeah, we just talked about it today, so this is our first time really actively describing the program out loud. But basically, it's instead of just, your one-offs, where it's like you have certain times of the year and you really don't know, like, maybe which program is right for you. This is just going to be a program that's just kind of ongoing, going to be very interactive. And I'm going to keep it with like the seasons of the year. And it's just a really good way to, when it's time to deload or kind of pull back on the training when it's been intense for a while, going with the seasons. And it's just going to be a nice way to have someone really keep you accountable and work on the programming.
Yeah. Well, and just a refresher for people that don't know, we sell golf fitness programs.
Right.
And as they are right now, I mean, we have a plethora of really awesome options, I think, but we sell them basically as like static programs where you could basically buy it off the shelf and start it whenever you want, choose your own adventure. Whereas this is a more of a team environment where everybody's going to be following along. So the people that are, people that are just training all over the world can kind of be in community, separate but together with like following the program, which we'll talk about like how that all works. And I think I'm really excited about launching it because it'll be cool to see, just it's fun to be able to share, post about a workout that you did or, what was challenging about it or what, 4 weeks in, how people are progressing and holding each other accountable and like all of that like added value of, we just had that conversation around, group exercise. For those that haven't listened to that one yet, I highly recommend a couple episodes previous to this one, but there is something to be said about having like accountability and other people that are like sort of in the adventure with you. That is the training experience. So it'll be cool to like have athletes from all over doing the program.
Yeah. And everyone will be doing it in real time. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So it's going to still be on Train Heroic, all of that staying the same.
Right. And, it's because Train Heroic, we have looked in a bunch of different apps and we just feel that Train Heroic is the best one out there for fitness programming.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been on the user side of a lot of different programs over the years. We've both used various apps as both, fitness professionals, as coaches, and also as users and athletes. And we found Train Heroic the end of last year, did some research. We went back and forth with a couple different companies or whatever, and they definitely stood out as being the best. I think what we love the most about it, and maybe you have a different opinion, but I think like the athlete side, being able to track your progress, being able to get really specific with what were the squat weights that I used last week, or how many, what reps and sets did I do at this weight last week on this movement? It does a really good job of keeping track of all of that stuff, which for somebody who's following a progressive overload program like our athletes do, that's super important. And just like the user interface in general is like, I don't know, I think it's really like some of the best out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's got the exercise listed right there. It's got the video right next to it. You can click, watch it. Instructions, everything you need is just right there. Some of them out there aren't set up that way. Like maybe all the videos that you need are at the very bottom. You got to scroll through all of them. So yeah, we just really found that from the user experience, and then at the beginning when you first log on, it asks you how you're feeling that day.
Yes.
If you're sore, if you're tired, it gives you like a rating system and everything to put in there. So yeah, just as far as the whole user experience is easy. It's organized. It's the best one out there.
Yeah, it's really streamlined. And so the program will be called Lift Heavy, Swing Fast. It'll be our flagship program. Mm-hmm. And Lift Heavy, Swing Fast. It's just that's our motto. That's our tagline. 100%.
And I've had some questions about that, and it's like, well, what about like swing correctly, or some people have like even like made that their hashtag, like lift heavy, swing right, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I'm not insinuating like swing incorrectly or swing weird, like swing out of your shoes. It's just we're gonna lift heavy relative to how to getting strong, and then fast, because club head speed is huge in this
game. Okay, but
so
let's just clarify. We're also not in the business of people pleasing and making sure that every single person is approving of our tagline. Right. Sorry, but that's just how we're going to roll forward with that one. Lift heavy, swing fast is badass. It's what we do.
Right.
It's what your brand is all about. You're 100%. All about swinging fast and lifting heavy. Uh-huh. Yes, of course, we want other fun things.
Yes, I want your technique in both of those things while lifting heavy and swinging fast. I want your technique to be great too.
Like, can we all just take a deep breath and just have some fun with it? Because lift heavy, swing fast is badass. So anyway, we're launching on March 13th, which is not too far from today.
Right.
Again, I think this podcast will be rolling out probably the week following. So for people that are listening, get on our website, codywescottgolf.com now and purchase this program because it will be rolling. So let's walk through like how we are, we're gonna again, this will be live when this is on. How can people join? What if our schedules don't align? Like, what does that look like for somebody who's like, well, I can't necessarily start on the day of March 13th, or how are we going to roll in like new people into this program? What does that look like?
So that's going to happen just because the workouts are going to be updated. They're going to start on March 13th and then it'll start progressing from there. So basically I'll give people a couple different options of what they can do. You can always adjust the calendar in Train Heroic and start at a different date. You can set it, backdate it and things like that. Or, I'm going to write in the instructions. I'm going to have a demo video at the beginning where I kind of talk about, hey, if this is your first week, you can start it like this. Maybe it's doing this exercise at 65% effort or something, in that realm. And I'll give more details for each individual day of what the program looks like. And then eventually you'll just catch up.
Yep.
Then, the cycle will change. I haven't really figured out exactly when it's going to change. Roughly like exercises will change. It'll change drastically, like probably like every 6, 8, and 12 weeks, depending on what season we're in. I could have, I have ideas that, we'll run one set of one type of programming for like 4 weeks. It's just going to be ever evolving. But there will always be a time where you'll catch up and you'll be back on track with everyone else.
Yeah.
Or you can always, like I said, you can jump in and do it like, I'll make the recommendation in the app, like how to approach that if it is your first day.
Yeah. So basically you could, if you wanted to, theoretically go back to day one, but you'd probably be a little bit off the calendar with the rest of the human beings, which is fine. If you beat to your own drum, if you're a shift worker, if you're somebody who travels for 2 weeks at a time, like that might be a best option for you, right? It's cool to have flexibility in your training. And I think we both believe in that strongly.
100%.
But if you're wanting to like kind of do the whole team effort thing, I think being able to kind of hop in, maybe if you're hopping in on week 5 of 6 and it's max out week, you probably don't necessarily want to be maxing out on week 1, right? So again, it's more about like, okay, finding your intensity level or whatever, coming into as a new athlete coming into a program, making sure that you're like just getting your feet wet a little bit before like really jumping into the program.
Yeah. And like I said, like I will give tons of options for that.
So now let's just get into the specifics of the program. Let's talk through sort of what it's all about. Obviously, we are launching it basically at the start of spring forward. I think turning your clocks forward literally is the day before our launch. So Are we walking into an in-season program? Is this essentially kind of like the start of golf season? Here's how you train with golf.
Yep. It is going to start with my more of in-season in training. I typically in season, I like to take the intensity pretty high and bring the volume down. So like, you'll be doing exercises that are a little bit closer to like your 1 rep max. I don't really have golfers do a 1 rep max, but that's what's great about Train Heroic is actually it'll give you like an idea of what your 1 rep max is. So we bring the intensity up and the volume down. So we won't do a ton of reps. You won't be super fatigued and tired. But with that being said, this is kind of early in season. And since I'm introducing this style of training to a lot of people, I've decided to kind of meet it in the middle. Like, so this is going to be like a hybrid, if you will, of like off season into transitioning into in season. And then in a few weeks, I'll make it more like full blown in season training.
Okay, cool. So are we doing, is it 3 days a week? Is that how?
So actually what we're going to do is it's going to be 5 days a week.
Okay.
Now, that's way too much training for a lot of people. So 2 of those days are pretty much going to be optional. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday is going to be the core and workouts. And again, you can kind of move those a day or two around if you need to. But I'm just going to use Monday, Wednesday, Friday as the example here. That's the core workouts. Like those are the ones I don't want you to miss. So it's basically a 3-day program.
Yep.
And then Tuesday is going to be mobility, which is optional. And again, I'm going to put videos at the beginning of every workout day. And I even write in there that, you know, if you don't have time to do this mobility workout, go for a walk. You know, just get your steps in. That will help with your mobility too, as opposed to sitting all day. If you just go get a walk in, that's going to help you. And then Saturday is going to be like a kind of a conditioning day. So if you need to, you could kind of you could take those 2 days off. You could, if you don't need to hit them every week. They won't be necessarily a part of the big like progressive overload training that it's going to be focused around. Those will be, I hate saying optional because I'd love for everyone to do them, but if you can't, you're going to be just fine.
Well, yeah, and again, like this is where programming for the masses can sometimes be challenging, but at the same time, having that autonomy in your training and just the self-awareness and the ability to choose and be okay with it is also helpful. I do feel like people get stuck in the trap of like, it's written on paper, so I must do it. And I get that. I understand that. That's the point of buying a program. You want someone to kind of tell you what to do. But at the same time, it's nice to have those optional days. And I mean, training 5 days a week is tough. Plus people that are out there on the golf course probably once or twice a week. Right. So 3 days a week are the main workouts. And so let's back up a little bit. You mentioned, you know, let's talk through that. Let's just say you have them programmed Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Again, in a perfect world, that's how it would look. But what if we're doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? We're doing like our 3 days in a row. Can we take those couple rest days at the end of the week? Or if we have people that have like sort of different schedules, what's your recommendation on those that can't necessarily follow that calendar?
So my programs really don't work well back to back to back. Like if you did the Monday, Wednesday, Friday workout without a rest day in between, you wouldn't be optimizing that, because in golf we train for speed and power, and you just have to have enough recovery when you're training for that type of, when you're training with those goals in mind. You've got to have, you know, 48 hours of recovery between like your two power and strength workouts. That's why like ideally I like to do the Tuesday is going to be like a mobility day, very low intensity. Thursday would be like the total rest day. And that way, and then Sunday would also be the other total rest day. Right. So that way you're coming into those workouts fresh. They all come off of a rest day. And then that's when, and Saturday is not off of a rest day, and that's the more conditioning day. So,
okay. So 2 days in a row is probably the max. Is that okay?
You can do 2 days in a row.
Okay.
But you know, I'd really want you to rest after that.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. And I think that's a good time to plug too, like our own personal training experiences. And I think sometimes 3 days in a row can totally happen for me sometimes, but oftentimes if my volume is high or if I'm doing like compound lifts back to back, like that third day, it doesn't feel good that often.
Right. And
sometimes we do it if we're traveling, or if it's like, I know that like there's going to just be a 3 day weekend where I'm not going to really be able to do my normal routine. Mm-hmm. And then it's like the third day, you're either, it's just diminishing returns. Like you're not getting the most out of that workout. So it's like, is it really worth doing that workout? Like probably not. I'd rather do it when I can optimize the workout and feel really good and feel fresh and have the time to recover from the previous 2 days of the workout. Yeah,
and you know, if you're going to do my workouts back to back, like the Monday and the Wednesday is by nature going to be lower intensity because you're not going to be as fresh.
Yeah.
You're going to squat most likely on Monday. Then Wednesday is usually like kind of a deadlift day.
Yes.
And just putting those back to back, you know, in a short turnaround, your deadlift's going to suffer no matter what. So even if you try to hammer it and go like 100%, realistically, you're actually not going to be doing it 100%.
Yeah. And then something to consider about that is the long-term effect of that. So if you are consistently doing that, then whatever that third day is, it's not going to be, you're not going to get stronger. You're not going to improve. Mm-hmm. It's not going to progress.
Yeah.
So it's like you when we see that a lot too, just in everyday programming, people tend to skip Thursday or Friday because it's the end of the week and they've like lost sort of like their willpower or whatever. They started to like kind of form a bad habit by the end of the week. And then you're noticing, then over and over and over again, they're skipping their leg day or whatever day that they tend to like maybe not want to do anyway. And then that repeats over and over and over again.
Right.
Like, I can do my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday upper body splits, but then by Friday, I'm just done. So I'm going to constantly skip that, where it's like, to your point, if we're doing a deadlift, which is probably the most taxing of all of the lifts, if we had to pick one, that would be a tough one to just kind of keep skipping on that third day.
Yep. So, I mean, you know, all this, you know, I'm going to write the way the program's going to be written in Train Heroic would be the perfect scenario.
Yep.
But obviously we live in the real world, and that's not always going to happen.
Yeah. And again, but like Train Heroic does a good job of being able to kind of
move things around.
You can move the calendar, and you can keep track of which days that you trained, which is also like really, really a cool feature. I think of it, just being able to kind of keep yourself to your own schedule and not get too confused on like which day that you're on. I think they do a really good job of that. Yep.
And then, we're going to program deload weeks in there. It's just going to be all encompassing, like everything you're going to need. There's going to be no second guessing. You're going to know throughout the entire year, like there's going to be training for every single week of the year, with ebbs and flows. I mean, obviously, like, when the holidays come back around, I'm going to take that in consideration.
Sure.
So, I mean, just everything like that. And so that's why I'm really excited to transition into this type of programming, because I think it is just a better product for people and a better way to train. And it'll just make it easier to fit your life and your goals.
Yeah. And so the team element too, so we're going to be using a platform where folks can post and share and do all that kind of stuff. So that's something that we're adding on that we haven't done before, right? Again, with these static programs, we sell them on Train Heroic in the marketplace or whatever. And that's kind of what we have right now going for those programs. But this one, we're adding in that like extra team element, so to speak, right? So tell us a little bit more about what that's going to look like.
Yeah. So, when you think about like a static program, it's like you buy a program from me. I'm like, here you go, kind of have a nice day, right? Like that's just really the nature of it. That's what the service is. Now with the team, right, I'm going to be more involved, and we're going to have like a Q&A area. There's going to be a place where you can post. We're actually going to use should I talk about Circle? Is that what you were alluding to?
Yeah, if you want to share, we can share that.
With your subscription to Train Heroic, there's also a platform called Circle. Now, I don't want to throw a bunch of things at people like you're going to have all this stuff now, but it's going to be an option for you. So Circle is another type of platform that will be community based, and there's tons of features on there where we can all share. I'll be on there to show more videos, maybe show things more in detail. So think of like the static programming as where I gave you a program, here you go. It comes with everything you need. Don't get me wrong. Like that was great. It is great. But now like I get to be even more involved, and like I can react live to like what everyone is dealing with. Like, hey, if I get multiple questions about how to do a certain exercise better, then I can like make a full like kind of video about that. So this is just going to be another layer of coaching that, is not out there. Right. Yeah. So you're going to have access to all of that. So I just want to make sure like this program and the other platform we're going to offer is giving you the best service that you can think of.
No, I love that. And I think that there will be a ton of value add in that. The ability for people to ask questions. It's always helpful when someone who has a question to ask a question, because there's always another person with that question. Like we always get, there's
and
always
I can address all that.
Yeah.
And like golf fitness is pretty nuanced in a few things, right? Like a squat is a squat, but it's also, we're going to go through different phases of the squat, right? Like, so for in-season training, we focus a little bit more on the concentric part of the lift. So just get a little technical here, like that's on the way up. So we want to be more explosive on that one, right? And that's just a thing, like I can provide like another layer of explanation and coaching to help people get the most out of their in-season, off-season training whenever that rolls back around, right? So I can really like explain why we're doing what we're doing in the program.
Yes, I love that. And again, like we're excited to launch Circle. We're new to using it for our athletes, but I think it's going to be awesome.
Right.
We're adding on a nutrition element to that as well.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about that. I was gonna bring that up. So within Circle, right, there's going to be other resources available. One of those is Erika's and ours, but Erika's the one writing it because she is the nutrition expert. So tell us a little about the nutrition blueprint that's going to be part of this program.
Yeah, I mean, the blueprint is going to be for our athletes, right? So again, nutrition is very, very nuanced, much like golf fitness is. It's very individual. I did one-on-one nutrition coaching full-time for 5 years, right? And everybody's a little bit different. But that being said,
she coaches me on my nutrition.
After coaching people, I do. We're still working on it. We've been working together for years.
I'm the toughest client.
But it's awesome because what I do love about writing it is for one, it's gonna be great. I have experience now having coached literally hundreds of clients, if not upwards of almost 1,000 one-on-one clients, and so this is experience of doing so, both men and women, athletes of very different like all kinds of different activity levels and athleticism, and so It'll be basically like a blueprint, an outline for people to, while it's not the same as one-on-one coaching, and we might not be checking in with each other on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, it's basically a roadmap for people to be able to guide themselves on their own nutrition journey. What I love about that, though, is that people, it's the whole "you can teach a man to fish" sort of expression, right? We can read about what foods that we should eat and be robots and be very prescriptive, or we can teach people how to guide themselves on their own nutrition journey, right? Finding what your maintenance calories should be, understanding how to track macros and why tracking macros are important. What are macros, right? I'm going to outline all of these really what I would consider basic, but they're the basic guidelines for everyone's nutrition approach, no matter what your goals are. And then there will be options for people to follow different tracks. So again, everyone's goals are a little bit different. We obviously are working with a lot of people that are performance based, so that will be the bread and butter of the guidelines of the ebook that I'm writing. But there's also going to be guidance for people that want to do a bulk or want to put on some muscle. There's going to be a fat loss, page or two in there on how to lose some body fat and the best ways to approach that. And again, I'm going to be giving some specifics on, calorie targets and macros. So again, it'll be an individual to everybody, but you'll be able to sort of find your way and be able to find how to find your maintenance, how to do your bulks, your cuts, your different nutritional phases, and how to use macros to do that. So, I'm excited to launch it and hear feedback from everybody, but it will be a part of the people that are in the Circle community.
Absolutely. Because we firmly believe that plays a massive role in how well you perform in your training and on the golf course.
Yeah. Because, at the end of the day, we want our clients to succeed. And I think the one thing that is missing in just that is missing / has always been separated in the personal training space as a whole is the whole side of nutrition, right?
Right.
You've trained clients for a decade. It's you can do what you can do with them for 2 to 3 days a week. They can be investing thousands of dollars a month with you as a trainer. But if we're not addressing the elephant in the room, which is what are you putting in your mouth 3 or 4 times a day? What meals are you eating?
Right.
What do your weekends look like? What's drinking looking like? Where are your calories at? Then that's a whole piece that we're just choosing to not address or bring into the picture, that it is a lot more than that. And so right. Again, for us, our athletes, our clients are athletes. They want to go to the next level. They're training for their golf game. Mm-hmm. They're training on top of playing golf. They're active. So what's going to level them up and make them a better player out there than other golfers? Their nutrition and having an understanding of what their intake is. Right. And I do want to caveat and say too, I know that nutrition and some of this stuff can seem so complicated. And so my goal with this nutrition guideline is to not make it complex, meaning I'm not going to sit here and say, within 2 hours, please consume 600 grams of carbohydrates. I understand that stuff. And I think that some of that stuff is just so overwhelming, especially as in my background in endurance training, there used to just be so many things where it was within 90 minutes, make sure every 15 minutes on the minute, you're consuming 25 to 65 grams of carbs. And then you're just reading it. And I'm like, what? That just sounds so complicated. My goal with this is to make it very succinct and to give enough information, but also for it to not be an encyclopedia of 100 pages of things that people probably won't understand or will get bored of or will feel like it's a little bit overwhelming. I want it to be basically, easily absorbed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
it's awesome. Yeah. And that's going to be all on, on Circle. So it's going to be just another offering that we have yes. when you sign up for our programs.
Totally. And of course, we'll probably plan to sell it on the marketplace at some point as well. But our plans for now are really just to release it to our athletes that are in the Lift Heavy Swing Fast program on Circle, our launch. That'll all kind of be one bundle, if you will, for mm-hmm. now. And then we'll kind of see where it goes from there. But if you want to get in on the nutrition guidelines, it's going to blow up. No, but it really is. And I think that there's because there's nothing like this out there. There's nowhere for other golf athletes to go to get all of these resources. The price is extremely cost effective. Have we landed? Are we comfortable with sharing that now? Or are we kind of...
Go for it. Let me see what you think it is.
Oh, what I think that it is?
What you know it is, but
it's $29 a month.
There we go. Good.
It's $29 a month, which is, I mean, let's unpack that for 1 second. I charge $300 plus a month for my nutrition clients. Now, again, that's a little bit different with one-on-one, but that's $300 a month. You charge that, like, that's 2 hours to spend with you one-on-one.
Right.
$29 a month. We're allowing for
all of
this.
I know it feels crazy that I'm going to give this much just for $29 a month. And we've put so many hours already into it and haven't even launched it yet. So it's crazy. But you know, that's what we want. I want it to over deliver.
Yeah, well, we want people to have access to this because it's something that I think, and this is why we launched this podcast too, which doesn't necessarily make us money either. It's really about like educating, and we want our message to spread out there on the truth behind just in the health and fitness space. And I think that's what the Shoot It Straight truly is all about too. But we just want people to lead healthy lives, have strong bodies, lift heavy, swing fast,
right.
You know, and just know that, you know, we've got your back, and we kind of want to be that one-stop shop for everything.
And that's why we teamed up. I mean,
that's exactly why we teamed up. So. No, I think that's an important, it's an important thing to know. I mean, we each have our own expertise, and even behind the scenes, we do our own things behind the scenes too, right? Obviously you're the programming king, and I tend to just be more of the operations and helping just run the business, which is fun and what I love to do. And
run me a little bit. Make sure I do the right things.
So you're the beauty and I'm the brains.
Okay.
And with
that's fine with me.
Well, we're looking forward to connecting with you guys on Circle. Obviously, again, CodyWescottGolf.com for all of our programs. Of course, you can follow Cody Wescott Golf on Instagram for all of the latest and greatest. Your link tree has all of your links to our programs updated. We're usually pretty good about that. Do not forget that we have a newsletter. We do not spam our newsletter. It goes out every 2 weeks. We typically keep it pretty succinct and efficient as well. We love to kind of talk about nutrition topics and highlight some of our athletes. So stay up to date on that stuff. And yeah, we're looking forward to having everybody at our launch.
Absolutely.